Well, it was nice to play some home games this week. We kind of had a little bit of a rough week. Played a real tough game against Iowa State, high-scoring affair. Um, but we did a good job of making adjustments at the plate and felt like we battled against a really good team. And I think we learned our lesson about throwing pitches over the middle of the plate. We didn't do a very good job of pushing on corners in that game, and obviously the score showed that. But from a defensive standpoint, we were able to play really solid defense. And offensively, we put ourselves in a position to win that game a couple of times. So was hoping that game was going to be the one that kind of pushed us over the edge. We played one bad game a week up to this point, and so we were looking for a good start on Saturday, and we got it. We played about as good as we could have in the first game against Loyola, and we got good pitching performance, scattered a lot of hits, but didn't allow them to string anything together, and able to keep them off the scoreboard. And offensively, we did a great job against one of the better pitchers in the league. Jones has a history of beating a lot of teams in the league, and we struggled a little bit with her last year, but we were able to get her out of the game in the third inning. And we did a good job of making quick adjustments against her and being on the offensive and being a very aggressive at the plate. After that, I don't know what happened to our bats. We just didn't swing it very well. We didn't make very good adjustments, and you got to tip your hat to Loyola for making their adjustments and pitching us a little bit differently and keeping us off balance, because from that point on, we just couldn't put anything together offensively. Defensively, I think we had one of our best weekends of the year playing defense. And pitching-wise, we did enough to win all three games. It wasn't our best performance, but we did enough to give us a chance. And even in yesterday's game, we give up 2 in the first, and Emma Olenczak comes in and shuts them down for 6 innings and gives us an opportunity to cut a 2-run deficit down, and we just didn't do it offensively. So it's a little bit scary going into this week with some of the pitching that we're going to face. Obviously, Drake, their pitching staff is the best in the league, and we're going to go up against that tomorrow. Coming off of the weekend that we had offensively, I don't know what we can do in one day to try to turn that around, knowing what we're up against. But feel like we know them well. They're pitchers that we've seen in the past. So hopefully that'll give us a little bit of an advantage going into it from a confidence standpoint. But they're 2 pitchers that you just have to I don't know. Some days you have to feel them out and see how they're going to be. Other days you got to try to jump on them. But they've done a nice job so far in this league and have impressive numbers to go with it. So it's going to be a tough task, but we'll find out a little bit about how our team is coming off of 2 losses this weekend and trying to bounce back against the number 1 team in the league. Indiana State has done a great job this year. I think they're 500 in the league right now, just 1 spot ahead of us, I think. And so right now we got to do our work. It's going to come down to the last couple weekends in the league. It always does. We're going to have 2 of the tougher teams in the league in Illinois State and Southern Illinois to go up against in the last 2 weekends. So right now is the time we got to put ourselves in position. Otherwise, we're going to be hoping other people do work for us, and that's never a good spot. So we got to take care of business in the next couple weeks to set ourselves up to get in that conference tournament. Any questions?
Maybe you shake things up a little bit and try to get a spark that way, or have you already done that as much as you can?
Well, I think we've been shaking all year long trying to figure out what's going to be the right fit. We've tried a little bit of consistency over the last couple weeks, and I don't know if that's what we need to do is shake it up. I don't know how much shaking we can do at this point. We just have to have kids step up and be willing to make adjustments. I think trust the process that we do in practice every day. I think that's the one thing that when I see us not doing well offensively, it's being stubborn and going back to old habits and things that have been our weaknesses in the past that we've spent an entire year trying to fix and do a great job in practice, but it's not translating in a game. They go back to the old unbalanced feet, fast feet, slow hands when we want the slow feet, fast hands. And so I feel like that's a little bit of our problem right now, is just the fear of failing makes them revert back to old habits rather than just going up there and trusting what they've been working on and failing with it. If that's the case, if we're going to fail with the stuff that you've been working on. I think that's the main focus right now, is try to keep them okay with, with failing, but just making sure that we're doing it the right way.
If I'm not mistaken, you had one or two key injuries this year. Ryan, how are you guys health-wise?
We're as versatile as we've ever been, so I feel like that adversity that we've had with some injuries and stuff really hasn't put us in a position where the team's ever uncomfortable with who's stepping up next or how we move pieces around. I feel like we've done a good job all year long of reinforcing the fact that just because somebody's practiced all week at second base doesn't mean they might not catch or play third during the weekend games. It just, however it works out, whatever pieces we got to move, we can do it. So I don't feel like any injuries has really put us in a bad spot this year. Obviously, it hasn't made us what we feel like is our best foot forward, but it's never a situation where we feel like we're at a disadvantage.
How do other teams like playing in the Dome?
I think a good example this weekend, Coach Talca from Loyola, he had never been in here before, and they're used to playing in the Rosemont Dome in Chicago. And the second he walked in, he's like, I just didn't expect this. This is a nice facility. There's really only one thing that is an effect to the game, which is the right field curtain. But otherwise, he's like, they play on all turf, so it wasn't something that they were unfamiliar with, and it plays true. And obviously with Drake and Valpo being in there, that was Valpo's first time in there too, and so haven't ever heard a complaint about playing in there. And it was a big hurdle to get past the last 4 or 5 years with the league, making sure that was a venue that we could play in. And this year, it's very valuable to be able to have that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be playing any games at home.
You getting any requests from other teams that want to come play here because they can't play anywhere else?
Not yet. Drake and Valpo were the first ones. And I think just talking to them, they thought they could maybe get one in on Saturday if they had to. If they would have not had the option to play in the Dome, they probably could have got one in, but it probably would have been pretty cold and probably a bad situation for everybody involved, but they would have got one in, and obviously nothing would have gotten done yesterday. So being able to get two in, and Coach Calvert knowing this venue, and I think he said if things play out right, we're going to play 2 games in there tomorrow with Drake, that they may play more home games or in the Dome than they do outside it as well. So
How many other teams in the league have the luxury of being able to move indoors?
Bradley has the ability to go indoors. Loyola and us are the only ones right now, and they're talking about putting some indoor down in St. Louis, where maybe Southern Illinois would have that opportunity down there too. All right, thank you.